If your dog has ever dragged their bottom across your carpet in front of guests, you already know that unique mix of horror, embarrassment, and that smell. That unmistakable fishy smell that seems to hang in the air for hours. But what if I told you that scooting isn't a behavior problem at all? And it isn't your dog being gross on purpose. That scoot is a distress signal. It's your dog's body telling you as loudly as it can that something deep inside their digestive system has gone wrong, and that the fix almost never lives at the back end of the dog. It lives in the food bowl. Even more surprising, if you've been paying your vet or groomer every single month to manually squeeze your dog's glands, research and clinical experience increasingly suggest that this routine may actually be trapping your dog in a cycle that gets worse over time, not better. Today I'm going to walk you through the entire picture. What these glands actually are, why modern dog food is quietly sabotaging them, why routine manual squeezing can backfire, and then 3 simple natural kitchen-based strategies that many vets recommend to help your dog empty those glands on their own, the way nature designed for the rest of their life. Grab a coffee, grab a notebook, and stay with me until the end, because I'm also going to show you 3 specific warning signs that mean this is not a home remedy situation anymore, and skipping that part could genuinely cost your dog. Before we dive in, if you care about your pet's health, subscribe to Puppy's Health. We share life-saving tips every day. And since we're talking about digestive health and warning signs today, you should know that the complete dog health guide I put together has an entire section on diseases organized by body system, including the digestive tract. So when your dog shows a strange symptom, you can look it up and know instantly whether it's a wait-and-watch situation or a call-the-vet-now situation. That's the difference between panicking at midnight and knowing exactly what to do. It's linked in the description. Okay, let's get into it. Chapter 1. What are anal glands? And why do they exist at all? Let's start with the anatomy, because once you understand what's actually happening back there, everything else in this video will click into place. Your dog has 2 small pouches, each roughly the size of a grape, tucked just under the skin on either side of the rectum. Vets call them anal sacs. If you imagined your dog's rear end as the face of a clock, those 2 sacs would sit at roughly the 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock positions. Inside each sac, specialized glands are constantly producing a thick, oily fluid, usually brown or yellowish, with an odor most owners describe as rotten fish. It is genuinely one of the strongest smells in the animal kingdom, and there's a reason for that. This fluid is your dog's biological signature. It goes all the way back to their wolf ancestors. Every time a wild canine passed a firm, healthy stool, the stool itself pressed against those 2 sacs on the way out, squeezing a few drops of that scented oil onto the droppings. And that scent told every other canine in the territory an entire story. Who this animal was, what they'd been eating, how healthy they were, even details about their immune system. This is why your dog is so obsessed with sniffing other dogs' droppings on walks. To us, it's disgusting. To them, it's reading the neighborhood newspaper. Some people call it canine social media. And honestly, that's not far off. But here's the single most important sentence in this entire chapter. So, let me say it slowly. Anal glands were designed to empty themselves, automatically, every single time your dog passes a firm stool. No vet visit. No gloves, no squeezing. Nature built a self-cleaning system. So when your dog scoots across the floor, when they suddenly spin around to lick or chew at their rear, when that fishy smell appears out of nowhere on your couch cushions, it means the self-cleaning system has failed. Fluid is accumulating. The sacs are swelling like 2 small, increasingly uncomfortable water balloons. And your dog is desperately trying to relieve pressure the only way they know how, friction against your carpet. Has your dog ever done the scoot in front of company? Tell me in the comments. I promise you're in very good company. Chapter 2. The soft stool problem. Why the system breaks. So if the glands are supposed to empty themselves, why isn't it happening for so many dogs? In the overwhelming majority of cases, the answer comes down to one thing: stool consistency. And stool consistency comes down to diet. Think about the physics for a second. For that natural squeezing mechanism to work, the stool needs to be firm enough, wide enough, and substantial enough to press outward against the walls of the rectal canal as it passes. A firm stool acts like a rolling pin moving past those two sacs, compressing them and expressing the fluid. Now think about what happens when the stool is soft. A mushy, loose, or undersized stool has no structure. It slides right past the sacs without applying any meaningful pressure at all. The glands never get squeezed. The fluid never leaves. Day after day, week after week, production continues, and the sacs just keep filling. And here's the uncomfortable truth about why so many modern dogs have chronically soft stools. Heavily processed commercial kibble. Many of these formulas are digested very quickly, and many are surprisingly low in the kinds of fiber a dog's colon actually needs to build a well-formed stool. Add in a minor food intolerance, which is far more common than most owners realize, and you get a dog who looks perfectly healthy on the outside, but whose stool never has the density to do its secondary job. Let me tell you about Bella, a 5-year-old Cocker Spaniel whose owner I heard from through the channel. Bella had been scooting on and off for 2 years. Her owner assumed it was worms, dewormed her twice. Nothing changed. Then she assumed it was a small dog thing and just kept cleaning the carpet. What finally connected the dots was noticing that Bella's stools had been soft and formless for as long as she could remember. She'd just never thought of soft stool as a problem worth mentioning to anyone. Once the stool was fixed, the scooting disappeared within weeks. Same dog, same glands, different input. But here's what most pet owners never realize. The way we typically respond to scooting doesn't just fail to fix the problem. It can actively make it worse. And that brings us to the part of this video that might genuinely change how you handle this forever. Chapter 3. The Squeezing Trap. Barpo. Why routine manual expression can backfire. Here's the standard cycle most dog owners fall into. The dog scoots. The owner books a vet or groomer appointment. Someone puts on a glove and manually squeezes the sacs empty. The dog feels better for a few weeks. The owner pays $30, $40, sometimes $50. And then, 4 to 6 weeks later, the scooting starts again. Another appointment, another squeeze, another bill. Some owners are spending well over $1,000 a year on this, on a procedure that, in most cases, is treating a symptom while leaving the cause completely untouched. But the cost isn't even the biggest issue. Many veterinarians, particularly those with a holistic or integrative focus, have raised a serious concern about routine manual expression in dogs who don't medically need it. Those sacs are delicate structures. When human fingers compress them forcefully, month after month, the tissue can experience repeated low-grade trauma and inflammation. Over time, research suggests that chronic inflammation in soft tissue tends to produce scar tissue, and scar tissue in this location can narrow the tiny ducts through which the fluid is supposed to drain naturally. There's also the muscle side of the equation. The natural emptying process relies on the tissue and musculature around the sacs doing work every time the dog defecates. When an external hand does that job artificially, again and again, the system may become progressively less capable of doing it alone. Some vets describe it as the glands becoming dependent on expression. Now, I want to be careful and fair here. If your vet has diagnosed a specific medical condition and prescribed regular expression as part of treatment, follow your vet. There are dogs who genuinely need it, but for the enormous population of otherwise healthy dogs who scoot simply because their stool is too soft, routine squeezing as a lifestyle is very likely the wrong tool. We don't want to keep emptying the glands by hand. We want to rebuild the stool so the glands empty themselves. So, how do we do that? 3 natural strategies, starting right in your kitchen. Chapter 4. Natural Strategy. Number 1. The Fiber Duo. If I could only give you one takeaway from this entire video, it would be this chapter. To restore natural gland emptying, we need to rebuild the stool. And the tool for that job is fiber. Specifically, a combination of 2 kinds of fiber that work in completely different, complementary ways. The first ingredient, 100% pure canned pumpkin. Pumpkin is rich in soluble fiber. Inside the colon, soluble fiber behaves like a sponge. It absorbs excess moisture and binds loose material together into a cohesive, gel-like structure. If your dog's stools have been soft and formless, pumpkin alone will often produce a visible improvement within days. But, and this warning is non-negotiable, check the label twice. You want a can whose ingredient list says one thing: pumpkin. Never buy pumpkin pie filling. Pie filling contains added sugars, spices like nutmeg that are unsafe for dogs, and sometimes artificial sweeteners that can be genuinely dangerous. Pure pumpkin only, always. The second ingredient, plain psyllium husk powder. You may already know psyllium. It's the active ingredient in human fiber supplements like Metamucil. But for your dog, you want the plain, unflavored, unsweetened psyllium husk powder from a health food store or the supplement aisle. No orange flavoring, no additives, nothing else on the label. Where pumpkin adds cohesion, psyllium adds bulk and structure. It doesn't break down in the gut. Instead, it acts like internal scaffolding, making the stool visibly wider, denser, and more substantial. And that width and density is exactly what presses against those two sacs on the way out, expressing them fully and naturally every single time your dog goes. Pumpkin provides the texture. Psyllium provides the volume. Together, they rebuild the natural rolling pin mechanism your dog's body was designed around. Here are the starting amounts many vets suggest. And I want you to think of these as starting points, adjusted based on what you see in the yard. For a small dog under 20 pounds, 1 teaspoon of pure pumpkin plus just 1/8 of a teaspoon of psyllium husk powder mixed into their food daily. For a medium dog, 1 tablespoon of pumpkin and 1/4 teaspoon of psyllium. For a large or giant breed, 2 to 3 tablespoons of pumpkin and 1/2 teaspoon of psyllium. Start at the low end. Introduce it gradually over several days, and watch the stool. Your target is firm, well-formed, and easy to pass. If things get too firm, scale the psyllium back slightly. Every dog's gut is a little different. Quick pause here. If this is helping you, a quick like helps more pet owners find this. And while we're on the subject of what goes into your dog's bowl, the health guide also includes the complete safe versus dangerous foods reference. The full list of everyday kitchen items that are fine, and the ones that can hurt your dog, including the sweeteners and hidden ingredients we keep flagging in this video, plus an entire chapter on natural remedies, and which ones actually have evidence behind them. If you're the kind of owner who reaches for kitchen solutions first, that's the chapter that keeps those solutions safe. It's linked in the description. Now, back to the plan, because there's a catch with fiber that trips up a lot of well-meaning owners. Chapter 5. Natural Strategy. Number 2. The hydration rule. Fiber has one strict physiological rule, and if you break it, you can turn this remedy into a brand new problem. Fiber must have water to work with. Both pumpkin and especially psyllium function by absorbing moisture. If you add them to your dog's diet, but your dog isn't taking in enough fluid, that fiber will pull moisture from wherever it can find it, including the intestinal contents themselves. And instead of a perfectly formed stool, you can end up with a dry, painfully hard one. You'd be trading scooting for constipation. And constipation can be its own serious problem. Now, here's the challenge. Many dogs are chronic underdrinkers, especially dogs on dry kibble, and especially in cooler months. So instead of hoping your dog drinks more, we're going to build the hydration directly into the meal. My favorite tool for this: plain, unseasoned, dog-safe bone broth. Bone broth delivers moisture in a form almost no dog refuses. And as a bonus, it contains collagen and gelatin, which many vets believe helps support and soothe the intestinal lining. The method is simple. When you serve the meal with the pumpkin and psyllium mixed in, pour about 1/4 cup of warm bone broth over the whole bowl. Let it sit for a couple of minutes so the kibble and the fiber powders soak it up before you set it down. The fiber absorbs the liquid on the way in, and the result is that ideal stool texture. Firm, but smooth and comfortable to pass. One critical safety warning: never use human broth or stock from the grocery store's soup aisle. Nearly all of it contains onion and garlic, which are toxic to dogs, plus far too much sodium. Buy a broth made specifically for pets, or make your own by simmering plain, unseasoned chicken bones in water in a slow cooker, then straining thoroughly and never feeding the cooked bones themselves. So now we have structure, and we have hydration. But for some dogs, there's still a third barrier, and it's invisible. Chapter 6. Natural Strategy. Number 3. Calming the gut from the inside. Here's a scenario that confuses a lot of owners. They fix the stool. It's textbook perfect, and the dog is still scooting. Why? Because if a dog has been struggling with this problem for months, the tissue around the glands is often chronically inflamed, and inflammation causes swelling. If the tiny duct that drains each sac is swollen nearly shut, even a perfect stool pressing on the sac can't push the fluid through a closed door. Where does that inflammation come from? Very often, the gut itself. Your dog's anal sacs sit at the very end of the digestive tract, and they share in its overall condition. When the gut microbiome, the population of bacteria living in the intestines, is out of balance from a poor diet, the entire lower digestive region can sit in a state of constant low-grade irritation. So, the third strategy is to rebalance that microbiome with high-quality probiotics. And one of the best kitchen sources is plain, unsweetened milk kefir. Kefir is a fermented milk drink, and it's remarkable because it can contain dozens of strains of live beneficial bacteria and yeasts. Far more diversity than ordinary yogurt. A spoonful of plain kefir added to the evening meal, alongside the fiber and broth, delivers those living cultures directly through the digestive tract, helping crowd out problem bacteria, and, over the following weeks, helping calm that internal inflammation. As the inflammation settles, the swelling around the duct openings gradually reduces, the drainage pathway opens, and now that beautiful, firm, fiber-built stool can finally do its job completely. And here comes our golden label rule again. Read the ingredients twice, plain and unsweetened only, and scan specifically for xylitol, sometimes listed as birch sugar, which is extremely toxic to dogs even in small amounts. If your dog doesn't tolerate dairy well, a plain unsweetened lactose-free kefir or a vet-recommended canine probiotic supplement works on the same principle. Give the probiotic piece time. Fiber changes the stool in days, microbiome changes take weeks. Consistency is everything. Chapter 7. Immediate Relief. The Safe Warm Compress. Everything we've covered so far works from the inside out, over days and weeks. But what about right now? What if your dog's rear is red, irritated, and clearly bothering them today? If you search online, you'll find blog after blog recommending a warm Epsom salt soak. And I need you to hear this clearly. Many vets strongly caution against Epsom salt anywhere on a dog. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. And what does every dog do the moment they feel something warm and wet on their body? They turn around and lick it. A dog licking Epsom salt residue off their fur can ingest enough magnesium to cause serious gastrointestinal distress, and in larger amounts, genuine toxicity. The risk simply isn't worth it when there's a completely safe alternative. That alternative? Warm chamomile tea. Steep a plain chamomile tea bag in hot water. Let it cool until it's comfortably warm on the inside of your own wrist. Never hot. Soak a clean washcloth in it, wring it out, and hold it gently against your dog's rear end for 5 to 10 minutes. The warmth helps soften thickened fluid inside the sacs so it can pass more easily. The chamomile gently soothes raw, itchy skin. And here's the beautiful part. If your dog licks it afterward, chamomile is completely safe and may even settle their stomach a little. That's what I call a fail-safe remedy. By the way, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments below. I love seeing how far this community reaches. Chapter 8. The 3 red flags. When this is no longer a home remedy situation, now we arrive at the most important chapter of this video. And I need your full attention because everything I've shared today applies to routine, uncomplicated gland issues. There are 3 situations where home care is not just insufficient, it's dangerous. If you see any of these, stop the remedies and call your veterinary clinic that same day. Red flag number 1, a hard, asymmetrical swelling. Gently lift your dog's tail. Don't press, don't squeeze, just look. If you can see a distinct firm lump bulging on one side of the rectum, especially if the skin over it looks dark red or purple, that gland is likely fully impacted. The fluid inside has thickened from an oil into a dense, clay-like paste, and no amount of dietary fiber can push paste through a duct the width of a pencil lead. An impacted gland is very painful. It will not resolve on its own, and it needs professional attention before it turns into something far worse. Red flag number 2, blood, pus, or an open wound. If you notice streaks of blood or yellowish discharge where your dog has been scooting, or if you look under the tail and see an open, oozing sore beside the rectum, you're looking at an abscessed or ruptured anal gland. Here's what happens. A blocked sac becomes infected. Pressure builds with nowhere to go, and eventually the sac can burst outward through the skin. Owners often notice the smell change first, from the familiar fishy odor to something metallic and rotten. A ruptured gland is a genuine emergency. It involves severe pain and a real risk of spreading infection, and it requires professional flushing, prescription antibiotics, and proper pain control. Never attempt to treat an open wound in that area at home. Red flag number 3, signs of serious pain. A dog who suddenly refuses to sit at all, who cries out when trying to pass stool, who whips around to bite at their own tail, or who won't let you near their back end when they used to tolerate it. Fine. Dogs are masters at hiding pain. It's ancient survival instinct. By the time a dog is vocalizing or guarding, the pain level is already significant. Trust the change in behavior and get them seen. If any of these 3 flags are present, skip the kitchen. Go to the professionals. Then, once the crisis is treated and healed, come back to the strategies in this video to prevent the next one. Chapter 9. Prevention. Keeping the problem gone for good. Let's finish by making sure this problem stays solved, because certain dogs are simply built with the odds stacked against them, and knowing your dog's risk profile lets you stay ahead of it. Small breeds, Chihuahuas, toy poodles, Cocker Spaniels, Beagles, Basset Hounds tend to be overrepresented in gland problems. If you own one of these breeds, the fiber and hydration routine we built today isn't a temporary fix. It's a smart, permanent habit. Weight matters more than most people realize. Extra body fat around the rear end cushions the sacs and reduces the natural pressure of each bowel movement. So, keeping your dog lean is quietly one of the best anal gland strategies there is. Exercise helps too. Regular daily movement improves muscle tone through the entire pelvic region and keeps digestion moving on schedule. And watch for allergies. Dogs with recurring skin issues or chronically itchy ears often have underlying food sensitivities, and that same inflammation frequently shows up at the back end. If your dog scoots and scratches and gets ear infections, talk to your vet about investigating the diet more deeply. Finally, make stool watching a habit. I know it's nobody's favorite hobby, but that daily glance in the yard is a free, instant health report. Firm and well-formed means the system is working. Several days of soft or loose stool means it's time to act before the scooting ever starts. Take a second and appreciate what you just did. You sat through an entire deep dive on what is honestly one of the least glamorous topics in all of pet ownership. And you did it because you love your dog enough to understand them, not just react to them. That's the real shift here. Most owners see scooting and think embarrassment. You now see it and think soft stool, trapped fluid, inflammation, and you know exactly which lever to pull. You've moved from paying for the symptom every month to solving the cause once. Your dog can't tell you their glands are swollen. They can't explain that the kibble isn't building the right stool. All they can do is drag themselves across your carpet and hope somebody figures it out. Today, you became the person who figured it out. And, before you go, remember that today's topic is honestly just one small chapter of your dog's health story. The complete guide walks with you through every stage of their entire life. Puppyhood, adulthood, and those precious senior years. Covering the diseases, the emergencies, the nutrition, and the warning signs for every system in their body. So, whatever comes next, you're never caught off guard. It's linked right below this video. If this masterclass helped you today, hit that like button, try the Fiber Duo tomorrow morning, and come back in 2 weeks to tell me what happened to the scooting. I read every comment. You've been watching Puppy's Health. This is James Carter. Subscribe for daily pet health tips. The information in this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional veterinary advice. Always consult your veterinarian regarding your pet's health.